Okay, so let's take a big piece of cellophane, move Alan and Yoda out of the way, and we're just going to cut out a big piece for the catcher-copter, which I cleaned in the last video. Nice. So there we have it. That's the catcher-copter wrapped in cellophane. I used florist cellophane. It's 40 micron, which has a little bit of thickness to it. It's not too thin, and it seems to crease nicely as well. So yeah, that's all nicely wrapped, and that will just keep the dust off, and the cleaning that I did will actually be kind of preserved, which is good. So this is the new catcher-copter on the right, and I've dug out my old one, which is also wrapped in cellophane, and to be honest, it's in pretty good condition too. I'm really surprised. But the main thing I remembered is that if I hold it up to the light, this one has a big ding in the corner. Don't know if you can see all those creases there, and it goes on to the top of the box. So this one suffered quite a big impact on that corner. It still doesn't detract from the overall look of the box art, but I just saw a chance here to upgrade my box, and I'm not too sentimental about which box I have. If I see an opportunity to upgrade something for a really good price, then I'll go for it. Okay, so next to get the cleaning treatment is this Colorforms playset. This is the smaller of the two boxes, but still fairly large, and I'm just going to give this one a clean. So I've got some warm water and detergent in this Tupperware box. And I'm just going to make sure I've got very minimal water on this cloth. Just want enough so that the dust and dirt sticks to it. There are a few holes in the shrink wrap here, so I'm just going to carefully wipe off all the dust that's built up over these years, and some of it may have actually built up inside the shrink wrap. Now, if that's the case, I've got to make a decision, because I can take off the shrink wrap and clean off the box inside. Anyway, let's see how clean we can get this thing. It's a tricky decision to make. So the thing is about this one, it's probably more valuable in the shrink wrap, but it's really dirty inside the shrink wrap. I think I'm going to have to get this one out of the shrink wrap, because I just don't want this aging to make it worse. It's a hard decision to make, but I'm going to do it. Here we go. Tough. But, you know, I don't want this thing to age anymore, and I don't want this box to suffer. So, and I'll keep the price sticker, I'll cut that out, and I'll stick that on the outside of my cellophane. Some fresh water, and we can give this thing a clean. That's a tough decision to make, you know, to remove that shrink wrap. It's probably worth more with it, but it's dirty. And I want to preserve these things. I want to display them, you know, and keep them nice. So here we go. And you'll see, look at all this dirt coming off now. See what I mean? Look how dark that is. So, you know, it was a necessary part of this process. Look at that. It's coming to life now. So yeah, it's a tough decision, but this is still brand new. So look at that. That looks lovely now. Just wonderful. And you know, I might have lost some money there taking it out the shrink wrap, but as far as I'm concerned, this thing is still brand new in box. If I was to sell it on to anyone, I could describe what I've done. I'm just going to do the edges here. I'm not going to touch this too much. And I'm just going to dust this with a dry cloth because this is cardboard, so it's absorbent. Okay, just get that nice and clean. And I'm just going to put that to one side to dry overnight. And this cellophane, which is dusty and dirty, this will have to go in the bin. That can go on the outside of my cellophane, so that bit of history is preserved in terms of its original price. $4.27 at Kmart. And I bet this was on discount. It's funny how a lot of new in-box stuff that collectors find tends to be from the discount era. And the children don't really want them because they're kind of after the excitement of whatever the franchise was. So they end up being left. And that's why they're still in mint condition now. So there's a lot of stuff that's labelled up on discount when you find it mint in box. I can stay there. Okay, next we have this deluxe playset, and this one doesn't look nearly as bad. So let's get this one cleaned off. Get my Tupperware full of detergent and water. I'm actually going to use a clean cloth because that last one was quite dusty. Okay. Yeah, there is a little bit of dust on the surface, I can see it, but not nearly as much as that last Colorforms set. And it looks like this came from the same one, Kmart. So it must have just been where the other one was stored. It just ended up getting the share of the dust. Don't want to go too close to this price tag because that's paper. Let's do the top of the box here. Oh yeah, much better. It's a bit more on this side for some reason. Don't ask me why. And then the other side. You can hear the Colorforms sloshing around inside. Preserved like a mosquito in amber. From 1993. I am going to seal this in another layer of cellophane just to doubly protect it. But yeah, this one's cleaner than the other one, so it looks pretty good to me. Nice. Let's put that one to dry there. So again, not so dusty as our first customer. This is a small Colorforms travel pack. So this one will just need a light clean. And when I wrap this one in cellophane, I'm tempted to put it against a piece of card or something just to give it rigidity, because it's kind of like a floppy paper pack. So if this were to lie somewhere at an angle or on something awkwardly, then it might inherit that bend or crease. So I don't want that to happen. But yeah, these are so new. And the Colorforms sets, they aren't necessarily expensive. If you go looking for these on secondary markets, they aren't too bad. For me, it's just the shipping costs from like the US or Canada. Canada's pretty bad for shipping. So yeah, the packet does have a little bit of wear and tear at the top there, but when I've sealed this in cellophane with a card back, it'll still display nicely. Okay, so that one can just lie there to dry. So after a bit of searching online, I came across these. They are heat shrink bags. You can actually buy them online in bulk. And I think it's the correct size for my Colorforms set. Now usually with heat shrink you have like a wire heated element that you press down to seal the bag. Now I don't have that, so I'm going to give it a go with my iron on the hottest setting, sandwiched under a piece of paper. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. Here we go. So you can see it's actually shrinking up here. I'm hoping that does it. I think that should do it. Let's have a look. Yeah, I think that's proper sealed up. Okay, so I've got my heat gun here, and I'm just going to put this on a low heat and gently bathe it in some heat. And you should see it start to shrink. Now I'm just going to do the opposite side. One last go on the front to see if we can tighten up the plastic on the front here. That looks super. Off camera, before I got this shrink wrap material, I actually tried the heat gun on the back of this price label, and lo and behold, the heat shrink plastic that was left on it shriveled up, and I was able to just pick it off. And what it actually left is sort of a sticky, glued back residue. So I put it on this wax paper so that I can peel it off again. It's actually still sticky from 1993. So I can actually peel off this sticker, reapply it in the same place, and then we've got an exact match for what I originally had, but just cleaned. So let's add that finishing touch now. The same sort of place, it was here. It's really sticky, I can feel it underneath. And then look at that. Perfectly restored and cleaned box. Now, obviously, if I were to ever sell this on to someone else, I'd have to be completely transparent about this and say, look, I took it out of the original shrink wrap, I cleaned it, I haven't opened the box. I've reapplied the original price tag, but I am so pleased with that for my display purposes, and one that I'm going to hold on to. This is an exact copy, just cleaned. So that came out much better than I could have ever hoped. So now we have the 3 Colorform sets, all, new in box and ready for my display. And yeah, we've got one more to go, which is kind of cleaning up some of the stationery. And that should be interesting too. And then they're all ready to go into the collection on display somewhere. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Rate, comment and subscribe. Bye bye for now.